Hi, it's Eva Cartman, and you are listening to the Dream Big Podcast Show, the place to go to learn, laugh, and grow. Today we welcome Kristen Ulmer. For 12 years, she was widely considered the best female big mountain extreme skier in the world. Hang on to the edge of your seats, big dreamers. It's episode 70, and it's time to dream big.
Welcome to the Dream Big Podcast Show. We're inspiring you to shoot for the moon, take aim and go. We bring to you amazing guests who truly love what they do. Every day they're living their dreams, and so can you. Dream big, take action to reach your goals. Are you pumped yet? It's showtime, let's rock and roll.
Welcome to the Dream Big Podcast Show. I am your host, Eva Cartman. And today, I'd like to start by letting you know about a special gift we have for all you big dreamers. We created an amazing Dream Big journal that we want to ship to you. The front of the journal has an illustration of an astronaut in outer space. What is so cool is that the journal is printed personalized with your own face and name. So you see yourself as an astronaut on the cover. Oh, and it's free. Parents, please go to dreambigpodcast.com to claim your free personalized Dream Big journal while this offer is still available. You'll see a video of my mom and I showing our journals so you can check out the illustrations. Go to dreambigpodcast.com to get your free journal. And of course, a quick shout out to the review of the week. This is from Chelsea and reads, I love Olga and Eva. They are very fun and a delight to listen to. Just my weekly dose of inspiration. I always make it a point to listen to their weekly shows with my son and daughter. Thank you, Chelsea, for the thoughtful review. I'm so glad you are enjoying the podcast with your family. Big Dreamers, if you'd like to hear me possibly read your review on the show, then be sure to leave a review on iTunes. We are so appreciative of your support. And I'm going to turn it over to my mom for a quick word.
We're always happy to spread the love to friends who have shared the Dream Big podcast with their community. Big thanks this week to Love That Max, an award-winning blog for parents raising kids with special needs who kick butt. We love that Ellen included the Dream Big podcast in her amazing post on Practice Makes Progress, which was the subject of Eva's standalone episode 62. Also spreading the love was Deliberate Mom, a blog where Jennifer shares all things parenting, homemaking, faith, and blogging. We were thrilled that she included us in a post entitled How to Use Technology to Connect with Children. Yes, this is for real. We have links to both these great blogs at our show notes, dreambigpodcast.com/70. And we highly encourage all the parents listening to check them out.
Thanks, Mom. It's time for you all to enjoy our episode with Kristen Ulmer. I never thought I would have so much fun talking about fear. That is until Kristen came on the podcast. Kristen was widely considered the best female big mountain extreme skier in the world for 12 years. Her success comes from her ability to embrace fear rather than avoid it. And trust me, you need to embrace fear to tackle the cliffs and descents that most would not dare attempt. Be sure to check out our show notes, dreambigpodcast.com/70, where we will have links to everything we discussed on the episode and some videos of Kristen's extreme skiing. It is truly remarkable. Without further ado, here's our interview with Kristen Ulmer. Let's roll the tape. Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Eva. How are you?
Good. We're so excited to have you on the show.
I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Today we are going to go deep into the topic of fear. But before we do, I wanted you to share your history as an extreme skier.
Yes, I was recognized as being the best woman extreme skier in the world for 12 years, which means I made a living jumping off cliffs, skiing like you fall, you die descents, just basically risking my life on a pair of skis. And I did that for, 12 years at the top level.
Wow.
Kristen, how did you get to that?
I just got lucky. Somebody handed me a pair of skis at a young age, and I fell into it. And I drove out to Squaw Valley one day to audition my skiing for a movie, and I saw these guys jumping off these cliffs, and I jumped off a big cliff, and that was my first cliff I ever jumped off was 25 feet, and I landed it perfectly and skied away. And by the end of the day, everyone in Squaw Valley knew my name. By the end of the week, everyone in the ski industry knew my name, and by the end of the month, everyone in the ski industry considered me the best woman big mountain extreme skier in the world.
Wow. And what are you feeling when you do a run like that?
Well, back then, I felt fearless. I was called fearless by the media, by my peers, and I really didn't feel fear, but it's actually not true. I mean, fear is with us every single moment of every single day in pretty much every interaction we have. And certainly jumping off cliffs, you're going to feel fear. But because I enjoyed feeling fear, instead it felt like excitement and energy and focus and being in the present moment. And so that's what's possible when you enjoy feeling fear.
Do you have any tips for people who are dealing with those fears?
People who feel irrational fear or chronic anxiety, what's gone wrong is that you're not dealing with your fear in an honest way. Like, we hear the terms, we want to conquer, overcome fear, fight it, let it go. Like, all these things are actually kind of bad advice, because what we then do is we push fear down. I say we lock it in the basement. We throw away the key, like we take 3 deep breaths and try to let it go. Well, it doesn't just dissipate. It actually gets stored in our system. And then that undealt with fear will then kind of come out and hijack your mind and run its agenda. And next thing you know, it's persistent anxiety or panic attacks or irrational fear. But if you have an honest, healthy relationship with fear, only its wisdom will come out.
That's interesting. So can you explain us a little bit more, Kristen, what's going on in our body, in our mind, how we should react to fear? Maybe you can explain for our big dreamers and little dreamers, how is it all going? How is it all like, how should they picture fear?
Yeah, and we know that you have a book called The Art of Fear.
Yes, correct. So all of this is in my book. And the subtitle of my book is The Art of Fear, Why Conquering Fear Won't Work and What to Do Instead. So if you're trying to conquer fear, if you're trying to overcome fear, that language sounds like you've declared war against it. And you've now picked a war with a huge primary part of who you are. And while you may win a few battles, ultimately the war will prove to be unwinnable. And that war will consume your whole life. And it's been carried out in your unconscious mind, and then fear will start to retaliate, because I like to personify fear. Like, I like to see fear as an individual, like a roommate or a friend. Like, if we mistreat our roommate or a friend, they're going to retaliate and mistreat us back. But if we're friendly with it, if we're, first turn towards it, apologize, sorry, I've been trying to conquer you for 10 years, and now make friends with it, then it'll be your greatest asset and ally. And so just to simplify things and answer your questions too, fear is a simple sensation of discomfort in your body that's supposed to compel you into action, like fight or flight. But if we try to conquer or overcome it, next thing you know, we're fighting the fear itself or trying to flee the fear itself, and something's gone wrong.
Very interesting. So did you ever think that you're going to be a fear specialist, Kristen?
No, it never occurred to me. I mean, I was called fearless, and I actually believed my own hype that I was fearless. It's not true. I was motivated by fear of failure, fear of looking stupid, fear of being invisible, fear of not being loved. Like, fear was behind every single decision that I made as an athlete. And then what happened, though, because I was repressing fear in order to ski the way I wanted to, I pushed it down in the basement, and you can get away with it for about 10 years. And then things start to go south. And I started having PTSD, more and more injuries. I was burnt out. I started to hate my sport. And so I quit my ski career to figure out what had gone wrong. And then I realized what had gone wrong is that I didn't have an honest relationship with my fear. And so in the last 15 years, since I retired as an athlete, I've set out to kind of make it up to fear, figure out what the best way to deal with fear might be. And I've been sharing this with professional athletes as a mindset sports coach, and then sharing it with my clients that are struggling with like depression or chronic anxiety. And finally, it just hit me one day like, oh, of course, I just need to call myself a fear specialist. I need to write a book. And now I'm sitting here talking to you guys today.
Well, that's very
Yeah,
exciting.
and one of the things that I noticed a lot is a lot of times the fears you have aren't really justified. I was really nervous one time to go on this water slide where a platform drops beneath you and you go straight down. But once I did it, I was never scared to going down again. It was just fun.
Water slides are actually designed to be scary. And so it's not irrational to have a fear of a water slide because that's how the designers designed them. And I would actually be more concerned if you didn't feel fear the first time. And the whole reason why it was fun to do was because of the fear. And the language is that you enjoyed fear that day. And so if it stops being scary, it won't be fun anymore. So what happened is, okay, yes, I felt fear, and then I did it, and I realized how fun it was. And then every time you do it now, fear shows up as excitement.
Yeah. And we have a lot of kids in our audience, and typical fears include fear of speaking in front of your classroom, fear of being made fun of or judged, and fear of doing something embarrassing. How do the kids overcome those fears?
So here's the important trick is we don't want to overcome our fears. We've got to get that out of our language. Like if you get nothing out of this podcast, don't ever use the word overcome and fear in the same sentence because you don't actually ever overcome the fear, but fear helps you overcome the situation. So like, for example, fear of saying something stupid, right?
Yeah.
Of course, if you're going to speak in front of your classmates, you're going to feel fear. It's a really scary experience. And everybody, people you admire, feel fear of rejection, fear like they're afraid of saying something stupid in front of their peers. I give a lot of speeches. I'm scared every single time. And I'm a fear specialist lecturing about fear, right? You are supposed to feel fear. And here's the thing. The fear is actually designed to help you come alive and focus like I keep talking about. And, my fear of saying something stupid all of a sudden motivates me to be bringing my A game to that situation so that I don't say something stupid. Make sense?
Yeah. And since you have a book called The Art of Fear, what inspired you to write your book? And what do you hope will be your reader's key takeaway from reading the book?
I felt inspired to write the book because there's so much bad advice out there about what to do about fear, and it's really hurting people. And, people are medicating their fear away. They're fighting it like dogs. They're just trying so hard to put it out of their mind and get rid of it. And it's not going to work. So I felt like I needed to write this book because I had some information that I wanted to share with people that could help them. Like if you have irrational fear or an anxiety, kind of chronic anxiety problem in your life, that's not fear that's causing that. It's actually your unwillingness to deal with your fear or own your fear in an honest way that is causing that, and it's pushing it down into the basement. And so my book is all to help people that struggle with these problems and give them an alternative way out if what they've been trying so far hasn't been working.
Yeah.
And Kristen, I love that video where you explain the summary of your book in just 1 minute. And it's just so easy and simple the way you show it and the way you explain it. So we will definitely include the links in our show notes.
Yeah, and where can our audience find out more about you?
My website is KristenUlmer.com. That's KristenUlmer. And I do webinars and live events and one-on-ones. I work with people, please read my book. And if you struggle with any of the problems I outline, definitely give me a call. I can transform your anxiety or fears in about 6 hours of sessions, or you get your money back. It's super powerful and fast acting.
And you're speaking a lot, so our listeners can find maybe you're going to be in their city very soon. And do you have a tour with your book going on right now, or where you live?
I'm not doing a book tour right now. At this point, it's a runaway freight train. You can go to Amazon or anywhere online that books are sold. Just buy the book there and then reach out to me if you want to know more.
That's awesome. And again, for our listeners, it's called The Art of Fear, and we will include all the links in our show notes.
Yeah.
As well.
And we have a few final questions that we wanted to ask you.
Okay.
If you go back in time and talk to your 10-year-old self, what would be the best advice?
I would say that, because when I was 10 years old, I didn't have any friends, and I was afraid that I was like the biggest loser on the planet. I was afraid of rejection. I was afraid of not being special, not being loved. And I would say that, hey, those demons, those insecurities are going to be the very thing that motivate you to do great things with your life.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
And Kristen, what do you consider the greatest achievement of your life thus far?
The greatest achievement of my life thus far is, I would say, just being an honest person and really being willing to own all the parts of my life, not just happy, love, joy, gratitude, all those wonderful things, but the fact that I'm willing to have an honest relationship with my fear, my anger, my sadness, my frustration, my disappointments. I would say that that's the thing that I'm most proud of, just my honesty of just being willing to see all that life has to offer it and see the wisdom in all of it.
And you have already made many of your dreams a reality. But if you look at yourself today, what would be your big dream for the future?
My dream for the future is that emotional intelligence would be taught in elementary school. Right now, emotional intelligence is seen as our ability to understand our emotions and control them, which I think is crazy, because fear is an emotion in our bodies. And if we use our intelligence to deal with an emotional problem, we should really be dealing with emotional problems emotionally. And nobody wants to be controlled. Fear doesn't want to be controlled. So I would like to see emotional intelligence as our ability to feel our emotions in an honest way and then use them as a tool to help us come alive. I would like that to be taught in elementary schools.
And Kristen, for our parents out there, how can we help our children to be emotionally intelligent? Any daily routines or daily tips that you can give us that we can do in our everyday life?
Yes, I think that the way that you talk about fear to your children is absolutely crucial. When somebody says, I feel afraid, what's the first thing that we always think to say? Well, there's nothing to be afraid of. That is absolutely not true. There's much to be afraid of. And so if your child says, I feel afraid, then the parent should say, well, tell me more. What's it like to feel afraid? It's perfectly natural, of course, to feel afraid. Let me know when it passes. And fear is supposed to move into, through, and out of our lives in between 10 to 90 seconds if we have an honest relationship with it. But if we're fear shamed, if you're told that fear is just in your head, or it's not welcome, or it's, something to be embarrassed about, or a sign of personal weakness, then all of a sudden you'll kink your hose and it'll just recirculating in your system, sometimes your whole life. So I would say the most important thing is just change your language around talking about fear.
And Kristen, I remember from when I went through my NLP training back in the days, they were saying that the fear in our mind is big. So it's just something like big, huge, and gigantic and dark. And even if we picture that in our mind and say, okay, I know what it is, and then maybe try to shrink that picture and maybe make it colorful. Do you think that's a good tool to use, especially with kids? Like we can have a conversation. Oh, tell me more about it, and then they will picture it, and then it's like, okay, let's just try. What color is that? And then we can say the color, and then let's have fun and try to make it funny or different. Do you think that's a good tool, or you're not for those NLP practices at all?
I think that's a really bad exercise, and here's why. Yes. Because fear just wants to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. And if you're trying to change it, if you're trying to get rid of it just by talking about it, it's kind of like, I like to personify fear. How would a good mother treat a child? How would a good friend treat a friend? Would you turn to the fear and say, okay, I'm willing to talk about you as a way to get rid of you, right? It's not very nice, So what that inadvertently does is it buys you a moment of relief. Like you feel great afterwards, like, oh my gosh, so powerful. I was able to shrink my fear. But now you've kind of repressed that fear, locked it in the basement, and that undealt with fear is now going to kind of either hijack your mind in an obvious way or redirected way. It's just another way to repress fear, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
I see. Thank you. That's great advice, because we do naturally, or from what we taught, right? We try to change it, as you said, or manipulate it. And your techniques and your book is all about embrace it, accept it, here it is, just acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Right? And don't
Right.
change anything.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Not as a way to get rid of it, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We have this
Kind of let it
belief.
be.
Yeah, just let it be. Like we're always trying to let fear go. Like don't ever try to let fear go. You want to just let it be. And how you
Yeah.
can do that, you want a little practical tip?
Yes, please.
Okay, find fear in your body right now. Like close your eyes, find it. It's a sensation of discomfort. For me, I feel it in my throat. Where do you guys feel it?
In my legs.
In your legs, okay. So,
I feel it in my mind.
okay. So if it's in your head, like in a headache, that's one thing. But if it's in your thoughts, then that's undealt with fear that's hijacking your mind and running its unfulfilled agenda in your mind. Fear is actually a sensation of discomfort in your body. If it's in your mind, then that's a sign that you've been repressing fear. So just find it in your body, right? And wherever you feel it, acknowledge where you feel it. That's step one. Step two is realize that it's normal and natural to feel this discomfort. That's step two. Step three is to notice if you have any resistance to it. Resistance is actually the bigger problem than the fear itself. If you have chronic anxiety or irrational fear, the resistance to the fear is what's caused it, not the fear itself. Because fear is our friend. It's here to make us more sharp and focused and help us come alive. If something's gone wrong with it, it's because you've been resisting it. And then the fourth step is you're just going to spend, let's say 30 seconds. Like, let's say you have to give a speech in like a minute from now. Just close your eyes, find the sensation, and then just feel it without trying to get rid of it. That's the key. Just allow yourself to feel it. And then fear, all it wants is to be felt, right? Will let go of you.
Did it work, Eva?
Yeah.
Interesting, right?
It's very different, huh?
Different experience, yes. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Kristen.
you.
And then every time when we feel fear, we should do this exercise and just let it be, right?
Right. Just feel it. My word is intimate. Become intimate with it. Like just feel it and feel its energy, feel the resource that it is. And the key is, though, you do this without trying to get rid of it. And it is counterintuitive. We all want to turn away from this discomfort. But if you turn towards it, watch how it transforms.
Yeah. And before we go, I have one more question. What are the things you do for fun?
The things I do for fun usually involve fear. I like to go kiteboarding. I love to ski and snowboard. I love to give speeches, believe it or not.
Have you ever jumped out of a plane?
I have twice.
Oh, that's cool.
Have you?
No, but I really want to.
Okay, so you enjoy feeling fear. You're not fearless, like you doing it because of the fear. And this is the last thing I'll say. We don't do things despite the fear. We do things because of the fear. Fear is actually one of the most magnificent experiences we get to feel here on earth.
That's so interesting, so different. And I'm sure that our young listeners, for bigger listeners, for big dreamers, it's probably like confusing to our mind, right? Because we grew up suppressing fear and not doing the things that are, that just embracing fear. And I'm sure young listeners like, okay, this is what it is. Thank you, Kristen, and this is how I believe.
Sure.
And my mind goes, I like it, but at the same time, it's like, how is that? So I thank you so much, Kristen, for this experience.
Thank you.
We now know how things can be different. And I encourage our listeners to try these tactics that Kristen just taught us. It's only 4 steps, and you will feel things differently. And your life will be different. I'm going to be practicing this technique for sure.
Me too.
It turns things around so fast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So once again, for our listeners, they can find you on your website. And can you please name it again? And I will remind that everything going to be in our show notes. And the book, The Art of Fear, you can find on Amazon. And read it. Is it good to read with kids, or just read it without kids and then kind of talk about it?
I think that anything's fine. I think that kids would appreciate the book just reading it on their own, too.
Oh, awesome.
That sounds like me.
Yes, Eva loves getting books. And
and for me, I don't really like reading out loud. It's just like in my head. It's fast and...
Awesome. Well,
I tell a lot of great stories in the book. If you like reading stories, then you'll enjoy the book.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Kristen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Your website is Kristen Ulmer?
Ulmer, yep.
KristenUlmer.com.
Yes, ULMER.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And big dreamers, keep dreaming.
Big.
And take action.
Yeah.
Even if you feel fear. Especially when you feel fear.
Yeah.
Right.
Say, right?
And if you're feeling fear, know that you're headed in the right direction towards expanding who you are.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.
I hope you all love the episode and that it challenges some of your feelings about fear. It's amazing how a shift in mindset like that can be so effective and allow Kristen to enjoy such a long career as an extreme big mountain skier. Be sure to check out our show notes at dreambigpodcast.com/70 for links to Kristen's website and everything else we discuss in the episode. When you go to the show notes, you'll see a place to sign up for our Insider newsletter, where we send exclusive content, including a free audio that I made on my top 10 tips for making and keeping great friends. This audio is only available for those who subscribe, and I know this will really help you, so please be sure to have your parents join the newsletter to get it. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Eva Cartman reminding you that you have unlimited potential. Your dreams are not optional. You need to make them essential. So take massive action to turn those big dreams into reality. Live with passion the way life is meant to be. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!